Alright folks, this is video 3. So in the last video I showed you how to feather the bevels back. Now I'm going to go over kind of finish grinding. So that was all rough. So we're going to start with rough grinding, finish grinding, and we're going to go into hand sanding. And then in video 4 we're going to go over handle finish. This one's going to be a little more boring because it's a lot of repetitive actions, but it's very important to get that final product. So I'll show you how to blend those lines, and then I'll show you how I hand sand. I have a few tricks to help you with it. This might be a shorter video because it's basically just grinding and hand sanding and how my grip progression and all of that stuff. And then the next video will be all handle fit up and finish work. I didn't really mention in the previous video is feathering in your tips, so that way you have a consistent bevel going throughout the knife instead of it getting thicker towards your tip coming off the straight bevel. So you really have to curve that bevel in and feather everything together so that you have one consistent thickness at your edge all the way to the tip. Okay, so after I use the Trizact belt, Trizact, or whatever you want to call it, I'm checking the thickness of my edge at this point. It's about 25 thousandths of an inch. Yeah, about 25 thousandths of an inch all the way down. So that's pretty thick for a chef's knife. I think most people go with 10 thousandths, but I do kind of an Appleseed edge. So what I'll do is I will take this on the slack belt and I will just remove all of that material to the center. So I'll just do one pass, switch the other side, do a pass, and do that back and forth. May do 2 passes, but I'll never do more than that. And that'll create me a nice point, and then it also helps with food release, because instead of it being full flat to your edge, there's this kind of hill for the food to pass over, and so it doesn't stick flat. It's just, I don't do hollow grinds, so that helps a little bit with the food release. I'll show you how I do. Just going to this slack belt portion about an inch, inch and a half behind my top wheel. This knocks that corner off and really establishes a good foundation for your final edge. This creates a convex bevel at your edge. It helps a little with food release, and like I said, it helps with that foundation and support behind your edge. I'm just going to quickly go over my hand sanding progression here. I start at 220. You can see I'm using WD-40. I'm using a flat piece of mild steel that is about 1.5 inches wide, and it's about 1/4 inch thick. This allows me to make sure that my bevels are completely flat as I'm hand sanding, so that if there's any low spots, they become visible. And I can work at them with this stone here for the low scratches after I get everything evened out. These are machinist stones or lapping stones. I'll try to find them and put a link, but you use them on edge and you kind of just get the hard scratches out. So after I go from that, I go to 320, sand the whole thing with that back and forth. I'm not worried about J hooks or anything like that right now. So after 320, I go up to 500. I'll do back and forth, and then I do pull strokes on the last little bit. Then I move up to 800 grit, and I stop at 800 grit because I think that's a good satin finish. And then I also am going to etch this to bring out the decarb in the steel. So 800 grit allows that to look nice. It's a satin polish, and it helps bring out that edge. Alright folks, so I'm going to end the video right there. As you saw, I hand sanded one side of the knife. This side I'm going to go ahead and hand sand with off video. Yeah, I don't want to bore you guys watching that whole thing again, even though it was sped up. So just go over the next step so you know what I'm doing. So using the same vise, I put painter's tape on the side of the knife that I did already hand sand, so that way the little plungers aren't marring the surface as I'm grinding, because they do pick up some of the abrasive and they pick up some of the steel that falls off, and they will do little circle marks, and you'll have to go back and finish that side again. I don't want to do that, so I put painter's tape on, flip it over, hand sand the other side entirely, starting from 220. I take it up to 800, and the reason I take it up to 800 is because in the future steps I'm going to etch it, and then I'm going to finish polish it with 1000 and then polishing compound, because I want to bring out the decarb that forms on the knife next to where the scale is. There's no scale on this knife. That's all forged texture from forging under the power hammer and hand hammer. So some of the future videos, so this is part 2 obviously, and part 3 will be finishing. That will be the etch, polish, and handle, fit up, and finish. There will be a spacer or two, like brass, and then a synthetic material, and then wood handle, and I'll show you how I finish those. And I'm even going to do a domed pin. It's very, very subtle with the dome. You really don't want to catch it on your hand, so it's in there and it's just kind of smoothed over. I'll show you. This is going to be lightly faceted coming off the handle because I do have facets there. I tried going completely round. It didn't end up working out that way, but that's for a future thing. So the next video will be that finishing process. Future videos, forging sanmai, finishing that. Sanmai is completely different than forging normally because you forge billets and stock removal them, because if you forge on the cross section of stainless sanmai in particular, if you forge on the cross section, those welds want to pull apart on stainless sanmai. So I'll be doing a video on that, and then I'll be doing some tool videos going over kind of some of my stuff. My power hammer, I'll probably do a finishing video where I'll go over how I mounted it, how it operates and all that, but then I will clean it up and paint it. I will be going over shop vices and the different types and the importance of them. So be on the lookout for those videos in the future. As I get better at this, I'll start referencing videos in the video so you guys can find them in a better way. Sorry for ranting. Thanks for your support. Please like and subscribe.